deliver. We're now going across to Jared Gardner, who is across at Ben Freeley Oval, where, of course, it is the relegation battle between both Hurstbridge and Whittlesea. Jared, can you just give us an update of how things are going at Ben Freeley Oval?
Yeah, guys, really intense first quarter here at Ben Freeley Oval. Both teams really showing that they want to stay up in top flight. In 2019, Hurstbridge leading at quarter time, 3 goals 5, 23 leading Whittlesea, 3 goals straight, 18. Hurstbridge got a lot of the ball inside forward 50 early in the quarter, but the Whittlesea defence really standing up tall and pressuring every opportunity Hurstbridge had going inside forward 50.
And who have been some of the key players out in the ground there, Jared?
I think for Hurstbridge, Mitchell Hymas has kicked 2 goals, and he's been really lively. Through the middle of the ground, he's gotten up forward a little bit and kicked a couple. And I think one for Whittlesea that I've really been impressed by in the opening stages, Mitchell Andrews, young defender for the Eagles. He's been really solid in defence and really helped their rebounding outside of defence 50.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for the update, Jared. We'll speak to you later in the afternoon.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Jared Gardner out at Ben Freeley Oval here. The players are moving back into position. We'll have an update from both Nicholas Sacco and Tom Flanagan in a moment's time, but the umpire has the ball in hand and we're just about ready to go. In fact, while we're waiting for the umpire, Nick, can you be really quick with what the message was from Steve Late? In fact, we might hold off and Nick will wait because the umpire's now ushering that we're just about ready to go here with the quarter-time score reading. St Mary's 4 goals to 26. It leads Panton Hill 1 goal 5-11.
So back in the middle for the restart of the game, 15 points the difference here. St Mary's with the lead. Panton Hill looking to make the first move from the opening bounce, but St Mary's have already set up the wall across half back. Chasing it down towards the back flank is Ronalds. He collects it on the bounce and sends it out to the wing. It's over the head of Nick Dean. It rolls on through. In fact, that wasn't Nick Dean. This is Nick Dean. It was Yeomans the first time. Now Nick Dean gets it across right half forward. It's a high ball to the flank. Lucci couldn't take the mark in the contest with Jeremy Gergovich hanging off his shoulder. And it goes out of play for a throw.
Nick Sack, have we got you boundary side?
Yeah, you do. Steve just pretty much said what you guys have said about making the most of their opportunities. They've had more inside 50s, but they haven't been able to score as much. And they haven't been able to win the clearances, as I mentioned. They've got to be more cleaner with the ball. One final thing, Jonty Rushton seems to be the only player that they're going to allow to kick outside 50. They don't want anyone else kicking outside 50. They want them inside 50.
As the ball now pushes towards the St Mary's goal face and a whistle's blown. It looks like it's a free to the Borough. And it might be an in-the-back call, so it looks like Lockie Potter, who's made a promising start to this game, he'll take the shot from a pretty tough spot in the ground. He's only maybe two or so metres in from the boundary line, but only 20 out from goal. If he can put this one through, it makes it 5 in a row for the Borough.
A couple of terrific efforts in the first quarter from Lockie Potter. This would be an unbelievable start for St Mary's if he could put this one through in the opening moments of the second term. Looks pretty good from here. It looks magnificent. Lockie Potter, what a shot from the boundary. Stretches the lead further. 5 goals for St Mary's.
So the Borough are 5 goals to 32. They lead Panton Hill 1-5-11. Tom Flanagan, you were listening to the huddle at St Mary's at quarter time. What was the message from Fab Corrali?
Well, he was really happy that they were absolutely smashing the opposition in contested ball and they were winning the clearances as well. And he feels that on a hot sunny day like this, if they can keep getting the ball out into open spaces, Panton Hill won't be able to chase them over the course of 4 quarters.
So here now it's St Mary's leading by 22 points. They have kicked the last 5 goals.
Well, it is back in the middle now. Dober missed it. It was knocked down there by Parks. But charging through here for St Mary's is Daisley. Gets it back on the 1-2 from Ronalds and then kicks to no one really. But the mark was dropped. Maybe had eyes for the sun. The Panton Hill player there in Dines. Taking a bounce and going inside forward 50 is the St Mary's man in Yeomans. And now a chance for goal. A snap around the corner is a little bit wayward there. That time it came from Potter, the last goal scorer. Could have had 2 in a minute. Not to be.
But Nick's mentioned it a few times, and they're getting all that ball from the middle, aren't they, St Mary's? And they're just now giving them shot after shot on goal. Scoring shots now, they lead 8-6, of course. Early on, Panton Hill was winning a bit more of that ball out of the middle and getting it on the scoreboard. But the Borough at the moment looking very dangerous each time they go forward.
Panton Hill trying to work it out of defence. Ball deep in the right back pocket. So it's a long kick. Trying to find a tall target. Trying to find Anderson, who flies and couldn't quite take the mark. A lot of players set upon the contest. And it's going to be a stoppage about 60 metres out from the St Mary's goal.
And around the grounds, Diamond Creek continues to stretch its advantage. Thomastown is 2-3-15. Diamond Creek 7-4-46, margin out to 31 points.
22 points the difference here at the Whittlesea Showgrounds, the biggest margin for the day. The ball goes out to the wing. It's smacked back into play by Lee Minners. Now Daisley has it, loops the handball forward for Masudo, shovels it out to Castagnini, forward again, and now St Mary's on the move. It's a wobbly kick inside the forward line for Dean, who picks it up off his laces, hands off to Hocking, drills it towards the goal line. It rolls through all comers, but it was offline all the way through, and in the end Trundle's over the line for another behind. And St Mary's got a 5-4-34. Panton Hill 1-5-11.
Big bit of pressure there for the Panton Hill player to fly there, Dines. He had two St Mary's players converging, but he did really well to get it out to Gurkovic, who soccers it off the ground, moves it up towards the wing. But there are numbers everywhere here for St Mary's, one of which is Derham. He goes with a short ball, not his best kick. It allowed Panton Hill to get a soccer and kick off the ground, but that one probably, they could have picked the ball up there and taken a bit of time with it, because the ball's been turned over once again. St Mary's with possession. Dober gave it to Dean. Dean looking for the short lead, pops it into space for a man to run up and fly at it. Couldn't quite take the grab, so there's a few Panton Hill players just converging at half-back. Conti gave a little handball off to Fowler. Two Greensborough men linking up there, former Greensborough men linking up there. Kick up towards half-forward. There's plenty of St Mary's numbers there at the back. Loopy handball over the top, releases Castagnini. His kick long down the line is searching for Gedge. He marks uncontested. Turns and goes straight away, searching for the lead of Goulden. And, he dropped what he probably should have taken there. Had two hands on it. Gurkovic doing really well here to just lock it up. And it's going to be thrown up in the left forward pocket here for St Mary's.
Well, we talked earlier in the program around the grounds that Heidelberg would need to win by 30 goals and Bundoora lose by 30 or 25 to make finals. Well, North Heidelberg's actually holding up its end of the bargain at the moment. They're 6-1-37, leading Bundoora 5 points. Heidelberg 4 straight 24 leads Montmorency 2-2-14.
St Mary's have moved this ball quickly into their forward line to earn this boundary throw-in, 30 metres around from their goal. As I was looking at that play unfold, there's a lot of red shirts back in defence, not many forward for Panton Hill. So when they do break, there's really not much on offer. Forster's kick shut down there by Galea. Forster gets it back in the back pocket for Panton Hill, and there's a free kick. He copped one high on the way through. And so Tate Forster, another of these ex-Greensborough players. He's played 54 games at Panton Hill. He'll take this free kick from the right back pocket.
You're right, Jordan. Panton Hill in possession, but only Boyden and Sullivan match-up is the only one inside their forward half at the moment.
Long kick from Forster out to the wing. Haynes wanted it on the bounce. He wasn't able to gather. Reagan Tate collects it and squares the ball with a backwards kick as well. And so St Mary's will reset across the back edge of the centre square. Gage gets it, playing the pivot role. He goes up towards the half-forward line. Mark dropped by Lucci. He goes back in, lays the tackle and prevents the ball from going any further down the other end of the field.
The second drop mark we've seen in that exact spot. I think players have trouble with the sun in that position.
Well, Lucci, he's a thumping kick at the ball. I know the mark would have been on about 52, but he might have had the journey in that left leg.
Guided down by Nick Parks. Cleared away by Fowler. High into the centre circle, right in the middle of the Whittlesea Showgrounds. No one's able to take the grab, but St Mary's win the crumbs. Dober's there, he wheels around, sends it back up high and skying towards the centre half forward position. Dean came charging in 4 deep, couldn't take it. It rolls out to Nick Parks, who slides one into the centre square for Higgins. He swoops the handball out towards right half back for Conti. Conti tried to measure off the pass for Ryan Boyden. It was a bit too high for Boyden, but he goes back and collects it off Reagan Tate's error. Boyden forward, handball. Panton Hill underneath the scoreboard. A wobbly old kick towards Rushton, who came rushing out of the 50. He's taken the mark 52 from home. Perhaps one kick long beyond his range. So he sets this up to the teeth of goal. Flying from behind was Dines. He held it. He dropped it at the crucial moments. Samuel Parks is in there as well. The ball is at the top of the goal square, ground level. The umpire will come in and ball it up. Dines and Reese Boyden both flew. Dines had front position, but it was knocked from his hands as he came charging into the pack. Ball thrown back up. It's punched twice away by St Mary's defenders. Tate comes in. He had it. He lost it. He dropped it. And it's a free kick to St Mary's. Reagan Tate perhaps a push in the back there. And so St Mary's will repel from their back 50.
He might be Masudo with ball in hand as he kicks long down the line, searching for a couple to rise to it. And it was a nice lead up there by Todd. Almost took the mark, then took possession of it. Was partially smothered as he went to kick and then went back after it. Ball knocked out of play eventually. Tough little bit of play there.
Score reads here after 8 minutes in the second term. St Mary's 5-4-34, Panton Hill 1-5-11, and Panton Hill just needs some time in their territory, don't they, at the moment? All the ball generally has been locked in St Mary's attacking halves. Can Panton Hill keep it inside theirs now?
St Mary's just trying to belt the ball forward, get it out of there. Picking it up is Hocking. He was slung in the tackle. He not unfairly though, and at ground level, it's the man picking it up in Johnston. He goes short to half forward with a bouncing ball for Goulden. Needs to take on his man. He tried to, and he might be pinged for holding the ball here. No, he'd handballed it, so holding the man.
He did it well. Just paddled in front, and Ryan was blindsided, went to lay the tackle, and Goulden didn't have possession of the footy.
Could he kick it from here? 51 metres out. He decides to just pop it up towards the goal square. Few high flyers there deep at full forward. Panton Hill players, first ones with hands on it, and they work it by hand towards the boundary. Taking a bit of time to pick it up. Here's Brent Ryan. He's taken down. St Mary's players appealing for holding the ball, but the umpire says no, it's out of bounds, boundary throw in.
34-11 at the Whittlesea Showgrounds. Second semi-final, St Mary's and Panton Hill on Plenty Valley FM. Ball comes spinning back into play from the throw-in. Dean left it full front and centre. Ronalds seized upon it immediately, and then he was taken by 3 players, stood up in the tackle, and the umpire will throw it up this time. Left forward pocket in the St Mary's front half. Guided down again by Nick Parks. It's cleared away by Panton Hill towards right half back. On the punch, it comes back inside the forward 50 for the Borough. Goulden clears one tackler. His handball put Masudo under pressure, and he fell short of it as well. And so the ball hits the ground, and players come in from all angles to dive on top of the loose footy. And the umpire will call for it again.
Well, we're just shy of 10 minutes now into the second term. Panton Hill's only goal came at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter, so they've gone more than a quarter without kicking a major.
Flipped down by Parks. Montanaro wanted the bump. He rode the tackle. It's come out to Sam Parks, and Panton Hill able to build off right half back. The handball goes to Sam Parks down the outer side. They might have something on here, but it's cut off. It was an aimless ball from Parks, and he's found the chest of Lee Minners, although Minners has turned it over as well, and St Mary's now surrendered possession.
Yeah, it's a bit of kick-to-kick out there.
Dambrowskis is down at half back, really struggling to get up, sucking in the big ones.
We'll keep an eye on that one as Conti guides the ball out to the far side. Sadakis takes it on the bounce, Panton Hill on the move. Sadakis a high ball, it's skied towards half forward, Boyden underneath it, he was pushed under the footy, Minners out the back. Oh, it's fallen kindly here for Panton Hill. They tee up the goal from right half forward, and it's out to the far side. The kick, I think, came from Sam Parks in the forward 50, and it's just one for Panton Hill. 1 goal, 6. St Mary's 5-4-34.
7 scoring shots to 9, but still 22-point margin. Panton Hill won't be happy with the missed opportunities here in the first half.
Nick Sacco, boundary side.
Yeah, just on Dambrowskis, it took a while for medics to actually realise he was down. He seems to be okay standing up, haven't been able to come off yet, so he should be alright.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to stay out there. He's just sucking in the big ones. Whether he's just winded, it might be.
Pritchard with that last behind.
High kick holds up in the wind. It's a turnover here from St Mary's off half back. Sam Parks has got it now, and he's got a free man in the middle. Taking the marks, Ryan Boyden. And they're going to try and spread the St Mary's defence here with a couple of leads left and right. Boyden had hands on it, couldn't bring down the mark, and now charging out of defence, Petroro. He's had an excellent first half, and that is a beautiful kick out to Lockie Potter. And he stretches the arms, takes the mark, turns and goes, and finds a short option.
They had so many, 3 numbers out on that near side here. St Mary's ready for that out ball. They did so well to set up.
Now the ball with Goulden, short little chip ball over the top. Was that 15 metres? Umpire says yes. Daisley now. He's looking to go long. He decides to head towards right half forward, but out of position always was Dean.
Well, Anderson had just set up there, and they just kicked it directly to his advantage. Didn't they, that long, high ball? He was waiting for it down the line, and yes, it was a slow build-up, but it would have been better just keeping possession there, the Borough.
Anderson told to play on. He squares the kick to true full back, and Freeman takes the grab for Panton Hill. And now they work the switch to the outer side, and Dines is in possession. Still inside his own defensive 50, Alex Dines. Squares it up again to the captain, Mitch Anderson, who holds the mark. And now is deciding on where to go. There's not much on offer for him. A lot of stagnant players, maybe only 1 or 2 half runs. And so he kicks it out to the wing. It goes over the head of Jonty Rushton, and it goes out of play for a throw-in.
As we go around the grounds, Meadows Greyhounds Division 1. Whittlesea's taken the lead, 4-1-25, leading Hurstbridge, 3-6-24. McLeod, 5-8-38, leads Northcote Park, 3-2-20. West Preston, 6-4-40, leads Greensborough, 3-1-19. Heidelberg, 30, leads Montmorency, 21. And Bundura's kicked 4 in a row. They're 29, trailing North Heidelberg, 37.
Hocking went in for the hard ball, got clattered into by a couple of Panton Hill players, and they eventually lock it up beneath him. Secondary stoppage. Out of wing here at the Whittlesea Showgrounds. Beautiful day. Barely a cloud in sight. There's a couple around, but it is bathed in sunshine here out at Whittlesea. Pretty still at ground level as well. perfect day for footy as Panton Hill come out of the stoppage. Chipping ball is an underground one. It's not the best. So St Mary's working their way out of defence. Derham, he got a little handball away, but his teammate didn't. Holding the ball, he's thrown it away. So a real chance here for Panton Hill. They go deep inside forward 50. There's a mismatch. It's a 3-on-2, but great experience by the St Mary's defence. As soon as the ball got down to ground level, Lee Sullivan whacked it through for a rush behind. Looked like they were in trouble for a second there after Galea got caught holding the ball, but great work by the defence.
Scoring's really dried up this quarter. Currently, St Mary's 34 leads Panton Hill 13. We've gone nearly 14 minutes in this quarter. Just one major, which came at the in the second minute.
And 4 behinds as well in this game. It's cleared away by Petroro up towards right half forward, and now there might be something on. If Dover can gather cleanly, he does. He handballs to the inside to Hocking, who's running. He sees a man leading it full forward. Dean takes the mark, holds it. Swift play, end-to-end from St Mary's. From full-back to half-back down the wing, and Hocking spotted the target, leading out from the goal square, and Dean will take his set shot.
Lovely build-up. That's probably the play of the day so far today. Coast to coast. Ball didn't touch the hand of a Panton Hill player, and Nick Dean gets on the end of it. Can he convert with St Mary's 6th? 23
goals this season for Nick Dean. He has one behind to his name for the afternoon. This for his first. He guides the ball, nurses it towards the goal line, but it fades out to the right. And so the perfect play doesn't end in the perfect finish for St Mary's. They gain one more to their score. 5-5-35 St Mary's. Panton Hill 1-7-13. The margin is back to 22.
Duckworth to bring it in from full back for the Hillers. Sends it long down the line. It's a big kick, about 55 metres. Carries towards the pack. Trying to take the mark there was Dean, the last point scorer. And he lays a big smother on the kick coming out of half-back from Conti. Keeps it locked in side the St Mary's forward 50. Dambrauskas' handball went awry. Now they're just caught up here on the boundary, the Panton Hill boys. St Mary's players appealing for holding the ball, but the umpire says, no, I'm not going to be that tough. It's going to be out of bounds and thrown in about 30 metres out from the St Mary's goal. Ruckman getting into position. Dober and Gurkovic contesting this one. Gurkovic front position and got nudged under a little bit, but still got a hand to it. Kick from Daisley around the corner. Anderson dropped what he probably should have taken. Had to go back, and then the player he gave it to was dispossessed straight away. They've still got numbers here, though, Panton Hill. Work it towards that boundary line once again. Daisley's handball comes out into the path of Conti. He tries to shrug a tackle and then works it further afield to the man in Gurkovic. Couldn't pick it up cleanly, but he tapped it onto a teammate. But they've lost possession here once again, close to the boundary line. It's knocked over there by Jake Johnston. It'll be thrown in. Hot footy.
And the whistle's just been blown off the ball. It's going to be a free kick there as the free kick's on to Tate Forster. As he tried to get up there, he just pushed back to ground. The umpire didn't like it, and he's awarded a free kick to the Panton Hill defender.
Forster on the outer side on that Monday Market wing. He's thrown it up towards half forward. Boyden came charging out, flung a fist at it. It comes off hands and other limbs and rolls out of play across half forward.
And Nick Sacco is boundary side.
I mentioned it briefly at the start of the second quarter how Steve Late didn't want anyone kicking the ball from outside 50. It's forced the likes of Boyden to go deep, but when they do have any chance of going forward, Panton Hill, St Mary's just have so many numbers back. They're playing a loose man in defence, and Panton Hill just can't seem to find anywhere to go forward.
Ball out of bounds on the full. Kick coming out from half back there was not the best one. So it will be a Panton Hill ball. Just waiting for the ball to come back. It's gone over the fence and trickled onto the other ground here at Whittlesea Showgrounds.
So current score reads the St Mary's Footy Club 5 goals 5-35, leading Panton Hill 1 goal 7-13. The umpire's now ready to start the play, but he's telling Dines he's got to go back over his mark.
Brent Ryan wanting it short, decides to go even shorter than that, finds Jackson Mill, right half back, 60 metres out from defensive goal. Gurkovic wants them to start working the switch. He does start that process, moving it to Anderson. Gurkovic has just waved it off though. So down the line goes Anderson, searching for a tall target. Getting their hands on it this time was Parks. Ball got belted down towards the boundary line once again. Socket off the ground by a St Mary's player, but Anderson once again in the right spot. He's doing a bit of the goalkeeper work at the back here so far today, Mitch Anderson. There's been a couple of times he's just chopped off some critical balls coming inside the back 50.
Keeping him in the contest at the moment.
And they work their way out of defence with a slow measured build-up. Chipping ball comes to Duckworth. Gurkovic still,
Shocker.
it's one of the worst kicks I've ever seen. It's completely come off the side of the boot and it's allowed Goulden in. His kick tumbles in the direction of Dover. Picking it up was Anderson. He was able to get a kick away. And then a great tackle by Daisley on the outer side. Gee, that ordinary kick off half-backs just really put the back six under pressure, and it's allowed St Mary's to regain possession in a dangerous area here. Goulden wants it high at centre-half forward. He's going to go in that direction. Kick's not high enough for him. It did go in the right direction, but it just didn't have enough elevation for Goulden to get his hands to it. Big tackles laid on a Panton Hill player at the bottom of the pack in Montanaro. So there's going to be a stoppage at the 50 metres out from St Mary's goal. Late stages here in the first half. 35 plays 13. A late one here to St Mary's would really hurt Panton Hill's chances. And the handball gets fed out the back to Dan Brouskas. He's usually a pretty polished ball user. He puts it out in front of Potter and he takes it on the lead. He'll be kicking from about 49 metres out. The mark's at about 45. He decides to move on with it short into the pocket. It's a beautiful ball to Dean, and the Panton Hill defence was just not awake to that lead. It was a beautiful lead by Nicholas Dean. And he's got it deep in the pocket. About 35 metres out he'll be kicking from. It's a really tough angle here, but we saw Potter on the other side earlier in the quarter put one through. Not too much wind to speak of, so he's got to be half a chance from here, Dean. But he's just pulled it to the left. One behind.
So another behind for Nick Dean. That's 3 for him for the afternoon. St Mary's got a 5-6-36. Nick Dean, who is their second highest goal scorer this season for St Mary's, unable to get his first for the afternoon. Panton Hill playing the far side of the ground. Parks takes it, spins out of trouble, handballs backwards. Now Dines swoops it out to Sadakis. Sadakis, his handball cut off by St Mary's. A stray boot was flung in there from the oncoming, I think it was Lucci, although Gurkovic wins it back. Gets it off to Eriksson. Panton Hill still in their defensive 50. Duckworth finds Dines at right half back. And then he'll wedge the kick over the top, although that has been cut off by Johnson as well. Thankfully, enough numbers around for Panton Hill. They win it back through Conti. And then Fowler just clears the area, boots it up towards half forward. But it's won back by St Mary's, so Panton Hill unable to hold the footy. It's taken by Dober. Short ball to Potter. Potter spreads it out to Petroro, who has an open 50 to run into. Petroro hammers it. He lays his boot into it, but it's out to the right. It was skinny to the right goalpost and just faded at the final seconds. But that is the danger. If you are not careful enough, St Mary's will tear you up the middle.
He was open for a long while there. That finally got to him well within range. And, well, he certainly had the distance, just not the accuracy, just the behind. And St Mary's this quarter have kicked 1 goal 5. Panton Hill's added just the 2 behinds. It's St Mary's 5-7-37. Panton Hill 1-7-13.
Duckworth again from fullback, launches it long to the outer side here at Whittlesea Showgrounds. Anderson rises, got right to the right position to get his hands up to the ball. He goes back over his mark, short one into the corridor. Finds a teammate who chips it over the top. There's a dodgy ball. It was intended for Pritchard, but it went over his head, so it's a turnover. And here goes St Mary's the other way. Potter, who dummies around Gurkovic, gets it onto the left foot, kicks inside forward 50, dropping the mark that he probably should have taken there was Mill, put his defence under pressure, and the snap towards goal is out to the right that time from Masudo.
They are just peppering. It's 38-13, and as we might just go now to Ben Pascuzzi, who is over at Main Street Reserve. Ben, can you give us an update between the Thomastown and Diamond Creek footy clubs?
Yes, boys, it's a bit of a surprise early. It is Diamond Creek who are actually leading 10-6-66 to Thomastown 3-4-22. Now, early on, Diamond Creek had all the run. They kicked 6 goals to 2 in the first quarter, whereas Thomastown, they were only able to get their third goal of the game in the 15th minute mark of the second term. So they kicked their second goal of the game in the 6th minute of the first quarter. The next goal was the 15th minute of the second term. So not smooth sailing at the moment for Thomastown. Also leading goal kicker for Diamond Creek, Nicholas Barrow, is unstoppable up forward, kicking 3 goals, including a spectacular mark earlier in the first quarter.
Well, thanks for the update, Ben. We'll keep crossing to you throughout the day, but it sounds like Diamond Creek off to a great start.
Yes, it is.
Here's St Mary's going inside forward 50 once again. Another strong mark from Goulden. Turns and goes from 55, looking for the one-on-one contest in the goal square. Great defensive effort there to knock the ball towards the boundary line was the Panton Hill defender. Trying to keep it in. Lucci lays a big tackle here for St Mary's. Handball comes back from Daisley to Hocking, who has a ping. It's a bit of a wild under-pressure ping, and it's out of bounds on the full.
Just blazing a bit, aren't they, at the moment? And some of their shots from wide range as well. But for Panton Hill, I mean, perfect conditions. I know they've had the 8 scoring shots, but a lot of those in that first quarter, they just do not look like threatening when they get that ball forward. They're really battling to break through the St Mary's press in the first place, but even just going inside to their attacking half of the ground just do not look like scoring at the moment. Just the 1 goal so far, and it is really danger signs. 25 points in arrears. It could be so much worse had St Mary's converted this term.
Ball thrown in, right forward pocket here for St Mary's. Parks flipped it down. It almost fell kindly for Ronalds. He just lost it as it jagged away from him. Pritchard rebounds defensive for Panton Hill, but there's nothing really on. Sadakis came out, although Todd's providing chase. Tate there with him, and the ball goes out of play right in front of the Heidelberg West fans who have been here since the reserves game.
And good news for Hurstbridge fans. They've broken away from Whittlesea for the time being. 8-7-55 Hurstbridge, Whittlesea 4-2-26. Elsewhere, McLeod is 51 leading Northcote 20. Heidelberg 36 leads Mont 34. West Preston 48 leads Greensborough 25. And Bundoora 31 trails North 38.
St Mary's by a game-high 25 points here in the second semi-final. Clearing kick from Ericsson into the middle. Petroro for the moment had a ride, but he couldn't follow through and take the grab, and the ball falls to Parks, who's then fallen on top of by a couple of St Mary's tacklers. Ball thrown up. Front side of the centre circle, favouring St Mary's attacking half of the ground. Sam Parks there. His handball looped up and back down in the air to Dober, who's then caught by a few of the Redbacks tacklers, and there'll be another stoppage. 38 plays 13. 25 minutes gone here. The first term only went 26 minutes. And there hasn't been many goals in this term either, just the one, in fact, which came all the way back in the first 2 minutes of this quarter. Since then, we've had 8 behinds in the game.
Most of it's been played in the St Mary's forward half this quarter.
Whistle blown. It's a St Mary's ball, it looks like.
So it'll continue to be played in the St Mary's forward half. Kick long towards half forwards. Not a bad one. It favours Goulden. And he's able to just shrug off his direct opponent there with ease, Brent Ryan, and take the mark 45 out.
He's just looked so dangerous as well, and we know Brent Ryan's having an outstanding year for Panton Hill, but with the amount of entries St Mary's is getting, Goulden eventually is going to get onto a few, isn't he? He's already kicked, he's kicked 1 goal so far this game. We haven't actually had a multiple goal scorer. We hear the siren go in the background. They got one on quarter time. Can they get another on half time? If Goulden can convert, St Mary's just about has 1 foot into a grand final.
If this goes through, listen to the roar from the Borough faithful on the stroke of half-time. Goulden with plenty of height in the kick. It's probably not going to carry the distance. It doesn't. Anderson belts it away. So at half-time here, it is St Mary's 5-8-38, leading Panton Hill by 25 points, 1-7-13. A lot of work to do for the Hillers in the second half. Great work by St Mary's in the first.
Well, it's certainly a beautiful day, but goals were hard to come by, particularly in that second term. Only 1 goal scored. It went 26 minutes that quarter. St Mary's kicking the only goal of the term through Lockie Potter during the 2nd minute. So at half-time, after leading by 15 at quarter time, at half-time St Mary's is 5-8-38, leading Panton Hill 1 goal 7-13. The goal kickers from the opening half for St Mary's, they got goals through Dylan Ronalds, Jake Downbrowskis, Miles Goulden and Lockie Potter, plus Nick Gedge, who got one early. And then for Panton Hill, the only goal scorer is Reece Borden. He kicked the opening goal of the match. No goals for Panton Hill after the 6-minute mark of the first term. Around the grounds, in A-Plus Labour Solutions Division 2, Watsonia holds a slender lead against the Fitzroy Stars, 5-8-38 Watsonia. Fitzroy 5-4-34. Epping 5-2-32 trails Eltham 8-6-54. Thomastown in all sorts at the moment, 4-4-28 trailing Diamond Creek.